Shamelessly employ this tactic for the next few weeks here at the Blaze, and I'm going to bring a flag with me every time I meet my Ozark kin down in southern Missouri. Now, on the topic of more Republican, Thad Cochran challenger Chris McDaniel joins me now to discuss his upcoming battle for the soul of the party in Mississippi. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So this coming Tuesday, this is going to be the last epic battle between you and Thad Cochran. Tell me a little bit about your feelings going into Tuesday, because I've been reading a lot of stuff from the NRSC and certain people that they're not too thrilled about your insurgency, I guess is how they would describe it.
Yeah, they're not, and that's okay. We made history 2 weeks ago. We received a bigger popular vote than a 42-year Republican incumbent. That's a big deal. And we're going to make history again on June the 24th when we finally put this to rest. The people of our state understand the country is going the wrong direction. They likewise understand that a change is needed. And Senator Cochran, well, he's been there 42 years, and he's got a liberal record to show for it. We're going to fight for our Constitution again. We're going to fight to restore balanced budgets and common sense to government. And that starts on June the 24th.
What do you say to people who have always been really hesitant to challenge incumbents? People who say, well, now we don't want to make a seat competitive going into the general election. How do you handle criticism like that?
Well, I think primaries are good for the party. This is particularly true when you've got a 42-year incumbent that's failed a single time to raise his voice in defense of his Constitution. In fact, he hasn't raised his voice once that I can find in opposition to Barack Obama. And that's very unfortunate, because Mississippi is the most conservative state in the Republic. If our party can't find its backbone, if our party can't find its principle, if we can't be a bold color and not pastels, as Reagan may have said, it's time to do something different. We have to fight with conviction. You out there that are considering running, you should run if for no other reason. If you have a senator or a congressman that's not fighting for your values, if he's voting to fund Obamacare like Senator Cochran, if he's voted for trillions in new debt, if he's voted for higher taxes, they need to be challenged. The people of this country need to be heard. How
has your relationship been right now with the Republican Senatorial Committee? Because there's not a lot of grassroots folks that think too highly of them, and I know that they've been critical of you going into this primary, this challenge. Has it improved going up till Tuesday? Do you think if you prevail, will you become friends with them?
That's a good question. I would hope that's the case. But my concern right now, the only endorsement I want right now is the endorsement of the people of Mississippi. It's always about the people. It's always about the grassroots. And to the extent that Washington has forgotten that, they should be ashamed of themselves. It's the people's government, not the politicians' government. And the people of this state understand that. We're tired of the lobbyists. We're tired of the backroom deals. We're tired of the deal making. We want someone that will fight with conviction. And I'm hoping that's the kind of party that other Republicans want as well. We're going to find out here in the next couple of years.
What kind of senator do you aim to be? Because we just so folks can kind of get an idea. I mean, it's one thing to say, well, I'm going to be a grassroots conservative. It's one thing to say, well, I'm going to be a party line Republican. But if you had to, looking at those who are already elected in the Senate, if you had to pick like who you think that you would most model your actions in the Senate after, who would that be?
I'm a big fan of Mike Lee from Utah, obviously Ted Cruz and Rand Paul. If I could merge those three into one super candidate, I would love to see that person run for president. We need bold, courageous, energetic people in the Senate, folks willing to fight. And those three have shown a willingness to engage the system. And that's what this is all about. The status quo, we've had enough of the status quo. We've had enough of Washington, D.C. We need constitutional conservatives that can defend their Constitution and fight for conservative principles. So those three guys are the ones I would probably best associate with.
Grassroots, they put a lot of faith, obviously, in these candidates that they send to the Senate, and they want reassurance that these candidates, once elected, will not be co-opted by the establishment. What can you say to grassroots voters, or voters in Mississippi in general, to reassure them that this won't happen with you?
It's very simple. I've got a 7-year record as a state senator. I'm the chairman of our conservative coalition. I have fought the fight for many years. I've been very principled in that regard. Here's what it boils down to. I don't want to be a part of their cocktail parties. I don't want to be invited to their clubs. The thing that matters at this stage in our country's history is whether or not we have the guts to stand up for our belief system and to actually engage and to restore the Constitution and to balance the budget and to do the things that the people of Mississippi request and demand. That's what I'm going to do. Now, sometimes that sounds unpopular, and sometimes that may mean that I'm not invited to all the parties in Washington. That's okay. I don't work for Washington. I work for the people of Mississippi and the conservatives across this country.
Well, we're definitely going to be watching the results on Tuesday. Goodbye and good luck to you. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
It's an honor. Thanks for having me.
Of course.